Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for the Vampire Diaries, Season 6, Episode 1, I'll Remember. I'm your host, Dom. With me is my disappearing co-host, Heather.
Hi.
How's it going, Heather?
I got to 5. I got to 5 and everything died. I'm just like, I'm done.
Perfect.
Look, I can see the notes.
Are you glad to be podcasting again? Now that you're Pretty Little Liars. You know us for Pretty Little Liars. That's what you did with us, and then you went on a big break, and you haven't been doing anything.
I disappeared.
So, you glad to be podcasting again?
Yeah, this should prove to be interesting.
Excellent. And down below is a returnee, Omikins.
Hello.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
So, before I get to Heather, Omi.
What?
You hated last season.
I despised last season.
You hated it so much that you told me you were never watching the show again.
Yeah, I did say that.
And I see you sitting here. So what happened?
I wanted to get... Well, you know what? The cliffhanger that they left you on in Season 5 was enough to bring me back.
We did start discussing that on the podcast, and it was, I think, about the very end of the podcast where you were just like, you know what? Everything we talked about kind of changed my mind on where this is going. So I think that's mainly why you're sitting here again.
Yeah.
Heather, on the other hand, Heather is brand new not only to this podcast but to the series.
Yeah.
She's been doing her best to catch up. She's a little bit behind, but she still watched this episode. And now she has mishmashed thoughts in her head, so that should make a very, very interesting show. So she'll be all caught up within the next week or two. So just bear with her as she learns with you at home if you are not a diehard Vampire Diaries follower. So this season is kind of the first season that we don't have a big bad villain to deal with. Right?
In the very beginning.
The first season, we started off episode 1 with Damon. He was the villain. And now we've kind of gone to Love and Damon, whatever the case may be. He's no longer the overarching villain. He's troublesome, but he's not the villain. Season 2, we had Catherine. She was kind of like the big deal. Season 3, we had to deal with Klaus and the originals and, their whole deal. Season 4 got into, like, the Council and the Hunters and Silas. I wanted to say Cyrus, but this is not Wonderland.
This is not one. So this is not Wonderland. No.
Yeah, Silas. And then season 5, we dealt with like the Travelers and the Augustine and the Passengers, that kind of deal. And now season 6, here we are, and it's like they're their own enemies.
Not really.
They're all, instead of banding together like they've always done and coming to each other's aid, they've all splintered off. And they've all gone their separate ways over this last 4 months. And
there's some of them kind of like going at each other too.
Yeah.
It's true.
So they kind of are not to each other, but their own personal enemy. They're the ones standing in their own way.
Yeah.
It's more like internal demons now instead of external.
Right. So you have Stefan, who he's looking for his brother. Like, he wants to find out what happened to them. Where his brother, where Bonnie went. Like that
initially.
Yeah. And then he ends up, he's what they say, he's looking for a witch that has some kind of connection with people that talk to the dead or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out he's a mechanic. He's seeing some girl named Ivy. He's up in a hotel room somewhere. He's getting flack from his boss. He's like in a job that he clearly doesn't want to do, and I mean, he's a vampire. He can compel anybody. Why is he still there doing that? There's got to be a reason.
Normality.
He's just moving on, and he wants to leave everything behind and get a fresh start. And it's probably the easiest way to move on, is just to forget everything that happened.
Yeah. But then he's ignoring Caroline, who he's kind of almost built up this romantic relationship with over the course of the last season.
Yeah.
And now he's just straight up not picking up her calls. Mm-hmm. She called, and then Elena called right afterwards, and he picks up for Elena. And then you later find out that he's talking to Alaric on a pretty regular basis. And
it's almost like he's trying to sever all ties that would generally bring him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, if I was in Stefan's situation, the one person I'd keep calling is Alaric.
Yeah.
Fuck Elena and fuck Caroline. They're just a pain in the ass.
You know what? Caroline, I'm honestly going to say...
She's way better than she was the first
probably
season.
my favorite character in the premiere here.
She actually cares.
She's the only one that cares.
Yeah.
And she's the only one that's fighting for her town. Like, she's hanging out outside the town line. Like, granted, she can't let go. And that's kind of a running theme with everybody. Elena can't let go, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But she's not fighting for the fact that she can't let go of the town because it's her home, and that she's fighting because this is what brought them all together. And this is the glue, really, that holds them all together. And they're all splintered without it.
Yep. So
she's searching for a way to take the border down and the barrier, whatever it is. How long do you think that's going to go on for? And do you think it's going to be a major plot point of this season?
Really don't know. I mean, at this point it looks hopeless. But judging from the last scene, which I'm not really going to get into, there is some hope. Definitely. So I'm thinking maybe by episode 4 at the earliest. Considering if they keep with their 22-plus episode run.
Yeah, it's usually 20. I believe they're billed for 22 episodes again this season. So
okay.
Yeah. So what was your guess again?
4 at the earliest.
4 at the earliest. What about the latest?
I don't think they'd reach mid-season before this happens. I mean, mid-season's probably going to be something bigger than the actual wall and the spirit world kind of thing.
Interesting. Heather, what do you think? How long is this going to stay down for?
This wall thing is obviously going to be the general basis for the first couple episodes. As Emily said, 4, maybe 5 episodes of it before they find out the big chunk of what's going on. Mm-hmm. I have more of a feeling that the big dramatic problem is going to come from the spirit world or from where funny bitch face man is, and I don't know their names. Oh my god, where and his pancake girl is, and
so Damon and Bonnie.
Thank you. Wherever they are, it's going to come back, and something revolving around where they are or what they are doing is going to be the big problem.
What if I told you guys we were definitely 100% going to find out where they are next episode?
They are, finding out where they are is one thing. Finding out how to get them back is another.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we'll go into that.
One Piece.
Yeah, I know we speculated maybe goofs and stuff last season that maybe demons are going to be coming out of this, which would be very interesting because that's one thing they haven't really headed on before.
Right.
So, I mean, that is a speculation, of course, but it would be cool.
It would. Yeah. But we'll touch more on Damon and Bonnie in a little bit. So the girl that Stefan was seeing, Ivy, what was your guys' impressions of her?
I don't
know. I really don't know. So
I almost kind of thought that maybe she's the witch that he was looking for, and he just got a little too close.
Could be.
I mean, if she was a witch and he's like, I'm a vampire, he came right out and said it, and she's like, whatever. If she was a witch, she'd be like, oh, really? Like,
Unless she's playing the card.
Right.
This is true.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen somebody play the I'm going to play dumb card.
Yeah. I mean, all we know about her is that she's from Colorado. She loves dogs, and she lets her dad pay her rent. That's all we know about her. Mm-hmm.
That's all I need to know to hate her.
Then going on to the more mortal side, we have Matt, who he's still training, toughening up. He's keeping on his toes. He didn't relax during these last 4 months. He's still bulking up for something. He feels like the walls are gonna come down, that Caroline is gonna find a way, and he needs to be prepared for that.
I think this has to go with how everyone felt was Matt was kind of a useless character. The only thing special about him was the ring last all season. Yeah, last couple seasons he was just useless. I didn't know why he was still there. But now they're bulking him up. They're making him prepare for what's coming and makes him seem like more of a major character than before.
Yeah. What Heather, what have your opinions on Matt Donovan been these last couple seasons?
He's the blonde one that was picking up the pizza because Jeremy, I'm too good for everything.
He had the sister that died.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the blondie.
The completely pointless character for, like, everything. Yeah. That just kind of stands there, like, with a derp look on his face.
Yes, that guy.
That one.
Got this. See? Derp face. Okay.
I'm glad to see him finally, like, stepping up and taking some kind of initiative to do something. We saw it a little bit last season, but not to the extent we're seeing it right now in the opening here.
Yes.
I would really like to see him, like, come out of nowhere, like, blindside everybody and have some badass little part finally where he just, like, everybody just leaves him the fuck alone finally.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing if something from the Travelers was left inside of him, like a little bit of magic that he can just pull out of thin air and be like, yeah, bitches, I'm here now.
It would be cool, except there's no magic within the barrier, so...
That's true. But the Travelers did set that barrier up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, too. I don't know if it wiped their magic out. I don't know if it did.
I don't think it did.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll break the barrier.
Maybe.
Could.
Be cool.
Then we have Elena's brother, Jeremy. He's kind of numb to this whole thing, right? He's ignoring his problems. He's sitting around playing video games. He's got girls coming over the house. He's actually acting very similar to how he did in the first season.
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, until he became a hunter, he really wasn't doing much of anything than being a lazy piece of shit. And that's exactly what he's doing now. And there's no magic. There's no hunter. So, I mean, his primal urges are gone as far as the magic standpoint because they can't be in the barrier with magic. So,
I mean, he lost Pancake Girl, so...
This is true. They were very, very
Soft
loving.
boy and Pancake Girl.
He lost Bonnie. Like, he's devastated. Like,
Yes.
He feels as badly as Elena does.
There was that one scene where it did kind of give you a hint into what he's feeling because he walked past the tree stump and the picture was there with Bonnie and he looked really devastated. So
yeah,
he's really hiding things well.
He was numbing the pain with booze, so. Then we have Elena. Like, she's just as devastated as her brother, but she is dealing with it in a different way. She has a drug dealer now, which is Luke from last season, helping Elena with these ancient herbs so she could hallucinate Damon. And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like even with the hallucinations of Damon, it kind of weakened that final scene where we finally did see Damon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It definitely wasn't as surprising.
No, but...
Yes, Umi?
I don't even want to talk about that whore right now because I just want to bitch slap her so hard.
She was acting like a 5-year-old who didn't get her toy. Like,
oh my god,
I don't know. Like, she's reckless right now.
Yeah, she is.
Really, I mean, just the thought of her gives me a headache right now. I can't stand it.
Elena's kind of always been a mess, and she's definitely not my... I not taking anything away from Nina Dobrev. She's a great actress.
Oh, she is.
And when she was playing the role of Catherine, you could really see in her acting skills that she can be a very sinister character and all this stuff. So it is the character of Elena that is like this, and we're not taking anything away from Nina here. But it's just... usually I like to stick up for characters, but I can't stick up for Elena anymore. I can't do it.
No. See, like, I've heard things about the book and that she's completely opposite character-wise, and right now, I'd rather see that because
there's no redeeming qualities to her character in the book, though. Zero.
I don't really take to children having temper tantrums very well. It's like, go sit in the corner and think about what you have done. And you can't do that. You can't do that to Elena because, well, first of all, she's on a TV show. But I mean, look at her. She's a vampire and I'm not. So she'd kick my ass. She'd probably drink me because she's all high on shit. It's very frustrating.
I don't know what I came back to, but okay.
We're still complaining about Elena.
Oh, yeah.
I caught on to that. I just heard something about get my ass kicked, drink my blood, and I'm like, this has gone either extremely morbid or into some kind of dirty romance novel that I have never heard of.
We get Gina here in chat with us, and she says that she loves Elena and she feels so bad for her, and the witchy herbs are bad. But can we also talk about all of the Delena scene? So, what did you guys think about the dynamics between the Damon and Elena hallucinations?
It was good. I mean, it seemed like it was a healthy relationship. If you ex-nay the idea that she's taking herbs to see him in the first place, I mean, they're both goofy with each other. She's, she seems happy. And, yeah, it's the whole Damon and Elena together during this episode. Yes, it was good to a point.
I mean, I really want to feel for Elena. Like, she lost this epic love that she's had, whatever, that they built up over this. I want to feel for her. But the problem is, tragedy follows her way too much, and she's always like this, that I'm numb to it now. I don't feel for her anymore.
Like, with the whole bitch face guy and crazy girl, no, Elena and Damon?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. The whole thing with those two is that I like the dynamics when Damon looked at her and said, you do realize all you're doing is sitting here fighting with yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're just yourself. You're having a crazed, drug-induced conversation with yourself, and you're imagining your other half as me.
I mean, he looks in the back seat and he goes, I don't see a Bennett witch back here. It's like, why aren't you hallucinating Bonnie? Why is it just me?
Right.
And because she knows that Damon's the fun-loving side of what she wants, and Bonnie being there is only going to be like, don't do this, Elena.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is a side of Damon that is doing this as well, but it's kind of her subconscious bleeding through at that point. And it was all said in very Damon ways. Like, it's all...
It really was, yeah.
If Damon was really sitting there, that'd be like the conversation. Well, I met you when you were dead,
Yeah.
The phrasing, the words he chose, it was all Damon.
Yeah.
It was. And it was very obviously her mind creating it. That's her way of coping. It's the only way she can think, because she doesn't want to admit that he's gone.
Right.
As far as she knows.
But, if she was working with Caroline on this, she might have hope. And that's a lot better than pretending that he's around.
They need each other. Caroline is kind of on her own, right?
Yeah.
She's got Alaric helping her. She's got her mother with her, but that's it. She's still, like, all her friends. She's by herself. She's alone. But, like we mentioned, we got Luke. He's pretty much playing Elena's drug dealer. And Tyler finds out about this, and he gets enraged, grabs him by the throat at the party, right? He's dealing with, and Tyler's having his own internal struggles. He was a hybrid, right? He was part vampire, part werewolf. He was invincible, pretty much. He's on the top of the world, and now he's just a boy with the gene.
Yep.
Which triggers his rage. Like, he's got all this pent up rage, and he says to Liv, he goes, he was the strongest person in the world, and now he's just pent up with rage. And Liv's like, well, what do you want me to do about it? And Tyler just glared at her like...
that wasn't really a glare. That was like I just pooped face.
Constipation.
It really was. I was like, what? I don't know.
It was kind of this disgusted look, though. It was just like...
Really, yeah.
It's like... something, don't walk away, you know, because that's all she was doing. She was walking away. But Liv and Tyler, they've kind of been flirting back and forth this episode, despite Alaric saying she's not into you. It seems like they are into each other.
It's kind of like playground flirting, where you go and kick them in the shin, run away because you like them.
Yeah.
Throw dirt on their face.
Exactly.
You know, that's like all they're doing. They're just they're batting each other back and forth. That's it. You know, who's going to snap first?
Liv is using her witchy powers to turn the pages in the book, you know, and it's just, I don't know, you see Tyler's flirting. I mean, Tyler's flirting with her. Then you see the way Liv was looking at him at the party, you know, and even when she was having the conversation with Tyler, like, they had this flirtatious kind of thing going on, but she's fighting it for whatever reason. It could be because of her brother, you know, we don't really know. But do you see the two of them coming together?
Right.
I mean, I think it's gonna happen. I mean, they're totally building up to it. They're making it seem way too obvious, but I mean, it doesn't seem like Caroline gives a shit about Tyler right now, and Tyler doesn't give a shit about Caroline, probably because of the Klaus thing last season. So he's obviously gonna bank on another girl, and Liv seems like the only one that he can, that's in the story that we know about.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you real quick, Omi, you said that Tyler had this poop face on. That's what you called it.
Yes.
In what I've always learned, in terms of acting, there are 3 ranges of acting that you need to know.
I've heard this before, but go on.
So I want, as I describe them, I want to see your best one of these, okay? It is the, number 1 is the, who farted? You farted. And I farted.
I'm sorry. That was like the cutest I farted face ever.
Now I've totally just embarrassed her by putting her on the spot.
No, I'm not embarrassed. I took that challenge on, I think, full forced.
You did. Heather.
I'm not doing it. Don't even ask. I was in drama for like 4 years, bro. No.
Come on, though. That's all you need to know about acting, am I right?
It is. Like, you just have, it's just the face.
Well,
it's all in the face.
Must say, Tyler does have it down pat.
He does.
So then we got Alaric, right? And he's dealing with not only being a vampire, he's an original vampire. He's the vampire of all vampires right now, right? This is his first time being a vampire where he's in control, right? We saw him at the end of, season 3? Was it season 3 or 4? I think it was 4. It's been a while.
I'm going to say 4.
4. Okay. You would know best. You just watched the whole series.
I'm going to say 4.
Right. Okay. So we saw him. He was turned by Esther, which was Klaus's mother, you know, into an original. Used the same spell used to create them. So he's original. But he didn't have to deal with the bloodlust and what it's like to feed on humans and what it's like to interact and be part of society and deal with these cravings, what he called his students blood sausages. You know, like, he's dealing with a lot himself, but he's also getting back into teaching. He's teaching the occult at college, which definitely right up his alley. That's kind of, you know, he was a history teacher back in the Mystic Falls High, but he's kind of still teaching the same kind of thing, because we all know he loved researching vampires. That was part of, like, him finding his, I don't even remember what her name was. But
I don't even know if he loved it. He was just doing it because he wanted to find out what happened to his wife.
Yeah.
But it was history in Mystic Falls High.
And now it's kind of forced on him. It's his life. Yeah. So who better than Alaric to teach this class? But then we find out that his most recent girlfriend, what was that? Once again, that had to have been season 4 or whatever, was Dr. Fell. And they quickly mention this in passing, that his girl, they don't mention her by name, but his girl was happily married.
And in Alaska.
To a pediatrician in Alaska. So we kind of got some resolution on where she's been or whatever. So it's pretty much safe to say. Yeah. It's pretty much safe to say that we're not going to see her again.
It's fine.
But then we see this girl Jo come up to Alaric at the party, and she's striking up conversation with him, and Alaric completely has lost his game. He used to be so smooth.
He has no mojo.
Nothing.
He used to be so smooth, and he's got nothing. I'm a germaphobe.
Like,
he could have just said it's empty.
This is true. But you know what? I think after being a dead guy for so long, like a dead guy, that kind of, real life socialization thing kind of drifts away.
I mean, at that point, you're living your life watching other people, right? Because he was sitting there watching Damon. We saw scenes of that, little things here and there. So, yeah. But as we mentioned, he's been helping Stefan. He's been helping Caroline. He's Elena's teacher. He's Tyler's teacher. Liv, Luke. He's still involved with everybody that's kind of drifted off. With the exception of Matt and Jeremy. We don't really know where he stands with those two, but even though we found out that they haven't left Mystic Falls, I think it's pretty safe to say that he's at least in touch with Matt.
It's kind of like he's acting as the anchor for every character right now.
Exactly.
Like, he is the tie between every single person.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. But,
I mean, I just like the character Alaric in general, so.
Alaric was always my favorite, and I was actually really upset when they killed him off. And
so was I.
Damon did step his game up afterwards, and he went back to his season 1 self for a little while there, but then he kind of drifted back into his ways, and now that Damon's kind of off making pancakes, it's nice to have Alaric back. So I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to see Alaric in full force. I want to see Alaric snap at some point and go full vampire. Because he can't stay this controlled for very long. Something's got to happen. Those blood sausages have got to be getting to him.
Maybe the whole bubble being broken, that is kind of a trigger for him. He won't. Maybe it'll release extra energy into the world. It'll hit all the supernaturals nearby, and he'll lose control.
It's possible. And you saw the way he was reacting when Elena was sneaking blood in class.
I laughed at that. That was great.
It's like, I can smell that, right? And she's like, oh shit.
It's good that they're able to have a private conversation in front of the class like 100 feet apart.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's amazing.
It's so good. It's so good. But my question is, out of all these characters that came back, where is Enzo?
He's off doing something.
Something important.
He's basically doing the same thing that Stefan's doing, except he's actually leaving a blood trail, and he's not in America at the moment. I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere, and I probably should have said something, but I know eventually that Caroline and him get together and start not together like that, but they start doing extra research to help break down this wall.
So what does that mean for Stefan and Caroline? Because they really were pushing that, and now it looks like they're not.
It would have been cute, but I don't think Stefan...
Even Gina in chat says Caroline and Stefan make a cute couple. She goes, but Stefan doesn't want to mess up the friendship that he has with Caroline. Do you think that's his concern?
That's his concern, definitely. I mean, I think he even mentioned it when... Who was it that brought it to his attention last season that Caroline was kind of oogling him? And he was like, oh, that's nice. Okay, I don't care.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not really a fan of Stefan's character at this moment, and, for the last couple seasons, and I don't think he deserves anyone.
I don't mind Stefan now. I like him a lot more than he was in Season 1. Season 1, he was just like this hopeless romantic, and there was like not any depth to the character whatsoever. And now there's something. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I'm interested in what Stefan is doing. I can't say for sure that I like it yet. It's a little too soon to tell. But I'm interested. Yeah. I want to see why he's out in, I don't know where he is, Tallahassee or something.
I want to see him rip out a few more hearts.
Yeah. Go Ripper style again.
Yes, please.
It almost kind of looks like, though, that that they're setting it up where he could possibly fall back into that hopeless romantic state.
Right.
Because of just the way he's acting. You know, I mean, he's either putting on a really, really good act, or he's seriously slipping.
But it could also fall the other way, because you saw the way his boss was pushing him. You see that he did not like that. He gave up. He did give up, but it's not over.
No.
And I have a feeling that that's going to come to a head before he decides. That's probably going to be the decision that moves him back closer to Mystic Falls.
Yeah. It's either he's going to compel him or eat him.
Eat him. That's what I'm rooting for.
Yeah, it's going to be messy. I could see Stefan just, like, the guy's up on a lift, like, fixing a car, and Stefan just smashing the lift down on him.
Just tearing him apart.
That'd be awful. That'd be awful. That might even be a little too graphic for this show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We
open up.
They get away with some stuff on there, so.
We opened up the show though with a camping scene, which was very, very reminiscent to, I believe it was the second episode in season 1. Remember
yes, I remember.
The couple in the woods that were camping, whatever. So it felt very much like that, and I was waiting for like a vicious like Damon attack or something, because that's what happened in that episode.
It was a vicious attack, but it definitely wasn't Damon.
It was.
It was a little too small.
It very much looked like Elena.
It did.
It had.
Well,
it had the hair.
She kind of admitted to it when, Caroline approached her and was like, "Are you the border stalker?" And she's like, "What? What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, this has been happening, and my mom's looking for a vampire." And she's like, "Oh, I get so thirsty on these herbs." And then Caroline's like, "What herbs?" So I think she kind of admitted at that point, but she didn't directly say it was me.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we do know that Elena is feeding on people.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it. There was that one victim that, in the middle of the attack, Caroline interrupted her, and she ran off. She got across the border. Elena and Caroline could not follow her. She ran off to the middle of the town, which Matt just happened to be conveniently running through. And him and Sheriff Forbes were able to cover it up. Matt brings her back to the town line. She freaks out, gets out of the car because she thinks Matt's trying to kidnap her now, because she said, "I don't trust anyone." And Caroline happened to be there. Supposedly what we're believed to compel her, but we don't see it. So, like I said, I don't believe anything until I see it. So do you think this girl is compelled, or do you think she had a talk with Caroline?
Caroline might have talked to her beforehand, but I think there was compulsion there, because I don't think Caroline would do anything else to possibly, she wouldn't harm her. She wouldn't harm her.
There's something going on somewhere.
The girl's significant for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if she's a witch. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
But there's more to her than we think. Like, what was she going to Mystic Falls for in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a reason.
Oh, of course there's a reason. Nobody goes to Mystic Falls without a reason.
Exactly. So
she was from somewhere completely different.
New York.
What'd she say? She was I was like, was it California or New York? She said. I mean, she's coming from obviously somewhere. Why would you go from New York to Why? Why? You obviously have a reason.
She's looking for answers, but the question is,
to what?
Exactly. So we don't know outright if Elena is the same person
that
attacked in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
No, that attacked in the beginning in the camping scene. We are assuming, and we're led to believe that. And the person that jumped down, the hair looked very Elena-ish. But like I said, I don't believe it until I see it. So there very well could be another female vampire or a werewolf or whatever the case is. I don't know why werewolves would drink their blood, but some other supernatural entity on the border that's not Elena, that just happened to be there framing her. For all we know, Enzo could have turned some new vampires and has a entourage of sexy vampire women with him.
Yes.
Maybe it's a Rebecca.
Maybe Rebecca's coming in.
No, she wouldn't. No. She's got something else to look after.
Yes, indeed.
Maybe it's just somebody else that we don't know yet.
It's that could be it too. Could be it too.
Good.
I mean, maybe that's the big, oh my god, who is this of the season?
Yeah.
Augustine wasn't exactly eradicated in the last season, so...
Yeah. I mean, they could very easily go into a direction where they make this border walker look, or stalker, or whatever they called her, look like it's Elena and get her into a lot of trouble just to have it turn out to have been somebody. I mean, because obviously Elena's not in her right mind.
Obviously.
You know, I'm willing to bet there's been at least a couple of attacks that she's made that she doesn't quite freaking remember.
What if it turns out to be Catherine?
That'd be interesting. That'd be really interesting.
Because we did see Catherine dragged away. She disappeared after she died. And we don't know where she went. Right? Much like we don't know where Damon or Bonnie went. Mm-hmm. We're under the impression that she went somewhere different than they did.
Yeah, because there was a shadow, a darkness behind Catherine when she was dragged away. And then Bonnie and Damon were approached by a light.
Right.
So it is possible she was taken somewhere else.
Right, which, if it is possible for Damon and Bonnie to come back, it may be possible for Catherine to come back, and she might have already found her way back.
This is true.
Right.
And not being able to get into Mystic Falls, she'd probably hang around the border for a little bit, trying to find a way, or what happened, or any information back in. So, it's food for thought there. But Elena approaches Alaric at the end of the episode, and she, after all her friends and everything had finally told her she can't keep doing what she's been doing with Damon, she can't keep the hallucinations up, she's got to move on. And she realizes her love for Damon is incredibly too strong to just go on with her life. She can't.
Right, like that big whole fight there at the end that she had with Damon.
Yeah.
Air quotes, Damon. You know, I mean, that was an intense little fight. She threw shit. She was mad.
Yeah. So, if Alaric goes through with this, which there's going to be some problems, because Alaric, he's Elena's guardian. He was Elena's guardian from back in season 2, I think it was, when Aunt Jenna died. He moved into the house and he acted as their guardian, and all this stuff. And, so he's got that responsibility. But he's also, like, Damon's best bud, drinking bud. They have that relationship. So does Alaric, is he going to do this for Elena? In spite of, like, what Damon would have wanted her to do, or him to do for her? And if so, like, if he does go through it, because I kind of have a feeling he is going to go through with it, because he doesn't want to see Elena suffer, He understands that, and with Damon gone and no sign of him in sight, he's probably going to want to end Elena's suffering. So I believe that's where that's going to go.
I don't know if he'd go as far as saying, I think there's going to be discussion, and he's going to make a negotiation, and he's going to, like, meet a middle ground with her. He's going to say, I'll take away the part where you loved Damon, but I'm not taking Damon away, because he's a he's a big part of the story of how she got to where she is right now.
Right.
So, I mean, taking him out of that equation completely, if he actually came back, it would be stupid. It would completely be stupid. I don't like how that would, I see it now, I don't like how it turned out.
And before Enzo, Alaric was really Damon's only friend.
Yes.
So there's that whole dynamic there, too. They were genuinely friends.
Yes.
So, it's rough, but... Alright, let's say Alaric, though, does decide to go through with it. They talk it over, whatever the case may be. He decides to go through with it. We've never quite seen something to this extent erased, right?
He's gonna do it.
Well, I mean, Damon did erase, what's-her-face from Jeremy's memory.
Yeah.
Right, but that was maybe a week or two. Right?
He still really cared for her.
Well, no. He didn't... hold on, how did that go? That was... He didn't erase all of her, did he?
Yeah. Elena said just out of sight, out of mind.
Because I thought they erased the fact and said that she moved. They compelled Jeremy to think that she moved. What was her name again?
Matt's sister.
That one girl?
Donovan,
yeah, okay, got that. To
really
be honest...
Jenny?
I really hope he's not looking at me, because I'm terrible with names.
It began with a J, didn't it?
I don't care.
Okay.
Jarrett.
It's just... she's one of those characters I just
Vicky.
couldn't stand. Like, oh God, you remind me I don't want to see her anymore.
Vicky Donovan, that's what it was. It's way off.
Her face just popped up into my head as soon as you said her first name. Like, oh God, I hate that.
You know, you are right, because they originally did that, then they found him, and then they erased it. But also, you got to remember that the Jeremy Vicky thing only lasted for like a small part of a summer and carried over to like the first week or two of school. Right?
It's still
the Elena Damon thing is rooted back now over the last 6 years. It's a little more in depth, right? Because Damon could have just erased that summer from Jeremy, and that would have been fine.
That's
because
true.
You got to erase all the memories that are attached with it, right? But for Elena now, Damon's been such a staple of her life and involved, even when she was with Stefan. To erase all of that, you're gonna lose so much of when she became a vampire.
Yeah.
You know, and like all this information. So, is this something that Alaric's just gonna be able to do like that, or do you think this is something that's gonna take a few weeks and systematically have to treat each memory different?
I think he's going to have to do the whole thing where you just don't remember when you loved him, and that's that. And as deep-rooted as it seems and how you've explained, even doing a compulsion like that is not going to take completely. She's going to get fragments, and she's going to remember, and it's not going to last forever.
The other thing that he could always do, though, is... if I was playing with this cord, it was just a random cord. It happened to be his laptop charging cord. So anyways, what if he goes in and he compels her to think that different memories, like when she became a vampire, happened differently than what they really did. And he rearranges things to make it so that way he just never really existed.
That would take so long.
Right, so this is not something he could just do like that. This is something,
no matter
it's
what,
almost going to have to be like a therapy session.
Right, no matter what, unless he tells her flat out, no, I'm not doing that shit, you dumbass.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't going to be something that, okay, let me snap my fingers, it's done.
Well, Alaric is kind of a tough love kind of guardian. He might say no and say, you need to work through this like a normal person so that you can be normal. Yes, I understand it's nasty, but I lost my love too. I couldn't just forget, so I did what I had to do to move on.
Yeah.
Right.
Before we get into the final scene, we have another question from Gina in chat with us. She wants to know, she has a question for all three of us. Who do you ship as a couple on the Vampire Diaries? Who's your favorite couple?
Honestly, well, my favorite couple,
or who do you want to be a couple?
I was never a fan of any of the couples, to be honest. Actually, there was one couple that was interesting to me. It was intriguing, was Caroline Klaus. That was something I kind of wanted to see, but all the other couples...
It was all based on a horse picture, though.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so much better, though.
That's the only couple I see that I'd ever wanted to be together in this show, because, Stefan and Elena, just, all of this typical romance lovers, and then Damon and Elena, I'm like, Elena's not good enough for Damon, and then Caroline and Tyler, I was like, Tyler's a dumbass, and Caroline deserves better. And then, Matt and Rebecca was okay. I didn't mind that either. And then Jeremy and Bonnie, I just, seeing Jeremy now, I don't think Bonnie should even, look at him anymore.
See, and that brings me to, with the way things were left between Klaus and Caroline, and then the originals went off and went back home to New Orleans, why do you think Caroline hasn't gone there to try to find some answers?
She's really stuck on her family and her friends, and she's not going to abandon them for one bit. That's something that
but she's also looking for hope to try to break this barrier, and because she knows that they probably their mother was the most powerful witch ever. So
isn't someone from the originals going over to Vampire Diaries this season?
It's in episode 5, I think it is, if I remember correctly. Nina Dobrev, who plays Elena, will be making a cameo in the originals in a flashback as one of the original doppelgangers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But what I was saying about Caroline, from the very first season, before she was even a vampire, she had a lot of determination, she had a lot of motivation, and she was actually really obsessive. And that comes into play this season because she's all of those things, and it's because she wants her home back. She wants her friends to be friends again, and she wants everybody to be a group again. So that's why she hasn't gone anywhere, and that's why she hasn't gone anywhere before, because there were problems, and she wanted to make sure everyone was safe and happy.
Yeah. So refresh me. Who's your favorite couple?
The couple that didn't happen, which was Caroline and Klaus.
Caroline and Klaus. Okay. Heather.
Yes.
You know all their names. So which characters?
I am shipping this. Okay, this is the relationship that's going to happen in my world.
Okay.
Damon and his goddamn pancakes. Like seriously, like Damon and himself, that's it right there. That's like these bitches are all like up his nuts, and like all of them are dumbasses, and he just needs to go and like make babies with himself. Okay? That's it. Damon and himself.
Those would be the most magnificent looking babies ever.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
So, I kind of have two, and they're unusual. I have two, and they're unusual because when I'm talking about couple, I don't mean lovers, right? On-screen couple are any two people that work very well together, in my eyes. So, I would love to see Damon and Alaric again. I think that group right there worked so well.
I think as far as like shipping goes, in Gina's question, is actual couples, lovers, not
lovers.
We'll get
that's shipping.
We could get some Alaric and Damon fan fiction going. It's fine.
And believe me, that's already a thing. That is already a thing. You do not have to imagine that happening. It's already a thing.
And I was gonna say the other one is Damon and Stefan, because the show's really kind of been about them.
Okay.
And it's been about...
You're still on the partnership, friendship thing.
It's been about the love that these two brothers have had for each other. This whole show has been about the love these two brothers have had and the struggle that they've had with each other the whole time. That's what the show is based on.
That is not... When you said Stefan and Damon, that is not the first thing that popped into my mind. Like, brotherly love? Yeah, okay. But no... I was still stuck on the whole lovers thing.
No.
And I'm like, you are so wrong right now.
Go eat some pancakes.
My mind immediately went back to like old Sam and Dean fanfics. Okay? Like as soon as you said...
Okay, so if I have to pick an actual couple... This has gone too far. We're going to talk about Damon and Bonnie in a second, but if I had to pick an actual couple right now, I'm very curious to see what is going to happen between Joe and Alaric.
That's one of those couples that you wouldn't really think about, because...
Right.
Yeah. I would love to see Alaric grow and actually be able to love again. That'd be very good.
And the newest one that's kind of piqued a little bit of interest is obviously the Tyler and Liv thing going on. And I'm not too excited about it, but I like the flirting dynamic they have. But when they officially become a couple, that's when my interest is lost. So I want to see more of the flirting and less of the pancakes.
I want to see... We're going to go to the friendship part of this, of all this. I'm not going the lovers way anymore. I want to see what's going to grow between Bonnie and Damon now that they're together, obviously. And you can obviously see they've already, grown a little bit because of the whole vampire pancake. She's like, I've told you that so many times. I hate it.
I hate that.
I know.
And I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah. So
I think that's going to be a really interesting friendship to see grow. I mean, like, they have great chemistry together. They just never get enough time.
It's true.
To actually get closer as friends. I'm not even, like, shipping these two. I mean, I'm sure it could be an interesting relationship between the two of them. But just as friends growing together and living whatever masochistic little lifestyle they're living wherever, it's going to be an interesting little story to see.
Oh, definitely is. Definitely is. So where do you guys think they are exactly?
Oz.
They're in Oz?
They're in a pocket plane where, they're at Mystic Falls. They're seeing everything that's going on in Mystic Falls. They just can't interact with anybody. I don't know. It's really hard to explain because they're there, but they're not. Well, I mean, like as we saw, I mean, Damon was looking at the most recent newspaper in the last scene.
Which I have a screenshot of because I made sure, right? Here it is in the bottom corner there, which you probably can't really see at this thing. But if I zoom this in here, right, and you look, you can just about see where this says the Mystic Falls Courier. Mm-hmm. Damon is holding a paper that says the Mystic Falls Courier. So for that to be there, that has to mean that they're in some version of Mystic Falls.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, maybe they're there and they just can't. Maybe they're just in, as she said, a pocket dimension. They're right there. They can see him. Maybe Elena isn't really daydreaming or hallucinating him. Maybe this drug is actually allowing her to see him through this whatever veil is there. You don't know. I mean, but it does look like they're literally right there at a arm's length away, and they just don't know it.
Yeah, it definitely is. There was an interview on, I believe it was E! Online, with Julie Plec, the writer of the show, and she said, "You will find out in the second episode. That's for sure. That's happening. You're gonna know where they are."
Awesome.
Cool.
But she said, if you want a hint beforehand, peek at the show titles for the upcoming episodes.
I don't like doing that.
Okay. So I did just that. Right?
Oh.
This episode right here is called I'll Remember.
Mm-hmm.
It's a song by Madonna.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The next episode coming up, episode 2, is called Yellow Ledbetter.
That's another song.
It's a Pearl Jam song. Right? Welcome to Paradise is episode 3, which is a Green Day song. And Black Hole Sun is episode 4, which needs no introduction.
Yeah.
So, the thing that the first 2 episodes have in common with those titles is those 2 songs appeared on the B-side for the albums when they were actually physical albums or cassette tapes before the CDs came out. They were located on what is called the B-side, the alternate side.
Right.
So my take on that is exactly what Omi is talking about. It's an alternate time, not timeline, but it's an alternate dimension that they're in. And then I started thinking about what alternate dimensions do we know about in the Vampire Diaries. And the one thing that we know that connects everything together is something that was brought up way back season 1, season 2, and that's the ley lines that run under the town. They connect everything together. And for those to be under the town, and we find out that Damon and Bonnie are in Mystic Falls still, I think they're caught in the ley lines.
Mm-hmm. Or, when everything broke down, the ley lines are what kept that part of the spirit world intact, and everything else just got blown away. There's so many ways it could go.
So if they're in the ley lines, that there is a chance that they can still be reached through magic.
Mm-hmm.
There is a way that the witches can pull them back. But
they just need something damn strong to do it.
But to be able to do that, the witches need to be able to get into Mystic Falls.
Yeah. Well, the witches can. They just can't do magic inside.
Right, so the barrier has to come down first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I think that wraps things up for this episode. So before we get into next week, you guys have any final thoughts?
Pancakes.
You know what? After watching the episode last night, it was it had to be 11:30 or something. I wanted frickin' pancakes so bad.
Thank you. I saw that a little bit ago, and I was like, because I watched it literally I finished the episode 10 minutes after you posted the announcement for what times we were doing shows tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I literally just finished it because, as I said, Facebook was like, oh, hey, by the way, you can watch this on CW right now. And I'm like, I better go do this. And it showed these nice, fluffy, like, I'm watching them make these pancakes. And I'm like, do I have any fucking pancake mix? And then I see the little icing on it. And I was like, no, I want some fucking icing. I have goddamn pancake mix. And I've got some leftover icing from some old toaster pastries.
What about the blueberries?
The blueberries.
The blueberry smile.
I don't have any blueberries, but I do have Cool Whip. I will make it work.
There you go. So, next week... Next week, we will all be eating pancakes on the podcast.
Okay. I have no argument with that.
Yes.
I'm totally okay with this.
I'm totally not kidding either. And Nikki's like, now I gotta go make pancakes.
I'll just make
she had the who farted face on there for a second.
She did. She's getting good at this acting thing. You should go apply for casting for Vampire Diaries. I know they filmed down in Georgia or Virginia or something like that. You could do it. Next week, the episode is called Yellow Ledbetter, as I said, which, as we said, is a Pearl Jam song. Knowing she needs to come to terms with the loss of Damon, Elena turns to Alaric to help her move on with her life. Enzo convinces Caroline to join him as he tracks down a lead to get Damon and Bonnie back. So there we go. Enzo will be back in this episode.
I told ya.
So Enzo convinces Caroline to join him as he tracks down a lead to get Damon and Bonnie back. But Caroline is shocked when they make an unexpected detour and uncover what Stefan has been up to. So now the characters are starting to pull together. This is where the excitement is going to start coming in.
Good, finally.
This season, like the opening is kind of blah. It was, but it was the necessary we needed to see. Maybe they dragged some things out a little bit longer than others, but we're getting into it.
I am perfectly fine as long as it's not like Pretty Little Liars blah, where it's an entire season of blah before anything happens.
Right.
That's how last season was. It was very blah until the very end, and then you're like, oh, I guess I gotta watch next season. Oh my god.
I think they realized that, and that's coming in. But it says meanwhile, Matt worries about Jeremy, who's spending time with Sarah, a mysterious girl who has recently arrived in Mystic Falls. So I believe Sarah is the same girl that went running into town. It's probably her name, I'm gonna assume. Yes, no, maybe so.
I think, yeah. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Elsewhere, Tripp, a leader of the community protection program, so that must be the guy that was getting in the fight with the sheriff over the girl, makes an interesting confession to Matt about his connection to the town. So there's a little bit more to him than we initially thought. And finally, with the other side destroyed and gone for good, Damon and Bonnie reluctantly band together to uncover the mystery of where they are and how they're going to get back home. So, it's interesting. It's interesting for sure. Yeah.
Excitement is amping up.
It is. Indeed it is.
That's good.
I'm super excited for the show next week. I was excited for this week. I was a little let down by it, but I'm not giving up on it. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I was. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was kind of let down until the very last scene, and then my hope was restored.
Yep, indeed. So I think that about wraps things up. Heather, where can the people find you?
I don't even remember anymore. What do you have for me?
It's under you.
We can't see.
I can't even see. Can't see.
Alaris _
What? Oh, Alaris _ RHEA on Twitter.
There you go. Omikins, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter as well at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
Excellent. You can find me down below at Phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM. You can find all of us and more on Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, G+, and right here on YouTube at /ASOTV podcast for some of your favorite TV shows. Feel free to subscribe to our channel, join in some of the discussions live, set reminders for upcoming shows so you don't forget to watch them. We cover like between 10 and 15 shows this fall season. So there is a lot on our plate. I guarantee you there's something else that we cover that you watch. So check it out. Till then, see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.